and he said, if you don't put that down, oh, well, hi, everybody. Hi, we're live on the eModels live stream.
Hello.
Hi, Fox. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you, Tedward. I'm just changing the camera off you. Hello, Tedward. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Right, hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another Monday evening. It's a little bit cooler this evening than it was last week.
Yeah, still a bit too hot and sweaty for the jackets. I do have my jacket.
Too hot and sweaty for the jacket. The jacket is here. It's on the back of the chair. I promise.
Yep. So I did try wearing it for a few minutes before we went live, and it all went horribly wrong.
Yeah, I lost about 3 pounds in the 5 minutes that we getting the things ready.
It's like Grimsby Fish Yard on a hot summer's day in here. So.
Right, welcome everybody. Welcome to a Monday night live stream from eModels with Ted here, Ted at emodels.co.uk and Fox at emodels.com.
No, I don't have an email.
Yeah, send your messages to me and I'll pass them on to Fox.
Yeah, make sure they're all nice. Ted only passing me the nice ones. So.
Right, what are we going to do tonight? Once again, as you know, it's usually made up as we go along. We do enjoy the interaction. That's a huge glass, Mr. Fox.
Yes, my normal dimple glass is... actually, I'm drinking out the wrong one because I should have my eModels cup.
Yeah,
it's my dimple one is in the wash. So this is a Guinness. It came with a bottle of Guinness.
Oh, did it really come with a Guinness, or did it come out of the pub? Oops, I've walked out with this.
No, you don't get glass pub. Well, no, you do get glass. Do you still get glasses in pubs now? I can't remember.
You do in my bar. Yeah, that's trademarked.
For some reason, I had this sudden thought that many years ago they stopped doing glasses, and I can't remember if it was an outrage, and everybody.
Well, that's Manchester for you, and it's serving glasses in serving beer in plastic glasses now.
No, we do. I think we do get glasses, but we don't get the dimple glasses, the classic ones.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. I've lost track now. What we're going to do? We don't know what we're going to do, but we'll have the usual hangouts, t-shirts, and mugs. I've got a mug up there. Yeah. So we'll have that as a giveaway this evening. We'll have some of your questions. We have had 1 or 2 questions that have come in via email, and we'll try and work our way through them. We'll also have a look at what's in store, 1 or 2 items of interest tonight. And the rest of it is up to you guys out there in chat. We sort of take the lead from you, really, and we'll go with the flow. Let's have a look who's in anyway. We've got a few people that have come in. I'll try and go back to the top.
Let's have a look. What's the doctor got in his magic bag? We have Ant and TK are in moderating. Hey, Ant and TK.
Yep. Just on that note, just please remember, folks, if you are new to the stream, welcome. But just remember, just down below is a little sort of a notice, really, just to say that this is a family-orientated show. Keep it clean and decent. We don't understand there might be a little bit of a slip up now and again, but we aim to keep it a family sort of program. And please respect your moderators. They are here to help us. They're giving up their own time to do that for us because chat does move a little bit quickly for us. And
like this. Yeah.
And we can't keep up with it all the time. If you do have any questions, try and, could you highlight your question in bold, please? And we'll try and, it's easier to find if it scrolls up. And we'll
by bold, he means put it in capitals.
Yeah,
there's no text editor on there.
And we'll try and answer questions, but it's over to you guys, really. So let's go back to where we were and have a look who's in.
Yes, who we go on. Do you want to do that, Ted?
Where were you up to?
I've just done and TK. And not anybody else yet.
Yeah. Chris Williams, welcome, Chris. Now I've got to find out how to go scroll down. Phil Davis, good evening. Phil Davis again. Kimbar123. Chat. Yeah, there's a bit of chat. I think this is all going. The bit of chat going on just before we got started.
Yeah, they start chatting like at 7:30 before we even go live, and they just carry on chatting regardless. We could just be talking about.
We could just leave the chat going and let them keep keep.
Right, me and you, Ted, we'll head off to the pub and we'll leave these guys to chat.
Well, that's what this chat is all about. It's just a group of us getting together and having a chat as though we were in the pub, and we like to keep it friendly and informal like that.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Bashing Kits again. He's here again. Ron Mack.
Hey, Ron.
Felice.
Vincent's in.
Yeah, did say Alex Cutal?
Yeah. Vincent, Mr. Loth, he's in.
Yeah, Mr. Loth, hi there. Matthew Birtles. We keep going down. And once again, the chat is moving so fast, I can't keep up with it. Beyond Hope, hi there. Simon D, hi there.
Wattington is in.
Zip Kit, yeah. Addy Wood, 68. Hi there.
The Orkney Massive is in the house tonight.
The people from Orkney.
Yep, good old Scott from Orkney, not the Orkneys, Ted.
That's what I said. I said Orkney.
Good girl.
So the people from Orkney. Yeah, I'm learning. Mike Mountain. Hi, Mike.
Skilly Models.
Yeah, so I've lost track of the chat already.
Yes.
So Spoo, Paul Stewart, Beyond Hope, Justin Norman. Right. Okay.
Hello to everybody else we missed. It's moving quick.
If we missed you, we do apologise. Right. We should kick off. What we're going to do first?
I've got some news.
Go on.
It was really hot this week, and I was having trouble sleeping the first few days of last week. So I may have accidentally cut my hair. Look.
Oh, you look like a thug.
No, all right.
Were you followed home by a truck full of policemen?
Well, the funny thing is, I went into the hairdresser and I thought I'll get a number one because it just means my head's cool and I'm not sweating a lot. And I sat down waiting to have my hair cut, and there was a copy of, unfortunately, the Daily Mail was the only thing to read. So I opened it up, and the first thing on the page was a picture of some like mindless American neo-Nazi with like a Nazi flag behind him and stuff. And I looked at it and thought, yeah, I'm not going to have a number one. I think I'll have a number two. Yeah, so just a number two.
Right.
But at least I can sleep now because I'm not long hair and hot weather doesn't work.
Do you not get that technique where they can draw pictures in it? You know, they take the shaver and they
tram lines and stuff. Yeah, I'm not that hardcore on street. I don't think I can hang with the kids. You know, at 45, it's not. Yeah,
you could have put your logo at the back. You could put the.
Well, I should have got shark mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. So Natty says, fantastic, Mr. Fox has lost his tail.
Yeah, Ron Mack says, blimey, they don't even cut it that short in prison. We're not going to ask. We're not going to ask, Ron.
Yeah. So what have you been doing this week, Fox?
Apart
from a haircut.
I have been cracking on with the Big Eagle. I put up episode 2 last week, and I'm just in the process of filming episode 3. And as it stands at the moment, we have a schnoz. We have the command module is glued and awaiting sanding. It's actually got the back is removable. So we have the back is now completely done. I've not painted the outside yet. That's just still in primer. So we have the cockpit is all completely done with Alan Forever Alone Carter and unspecified pilot number 2, which means he'll probably die in some horrific way. And we've got all the 2 halves of the module are now glued together. These have been glued. And they've been filled using sprue glue, which I'll show you in a second. And now it just needs me to start the sanding process, which is going to be easy for the raised bits, but tricky for the little recesses. So I'm going to have some fun with that. So that's all been done. I had to do some finagling to make sure it all fitted together properly. And I do explain all that in the video, but now it means I can take this back piece on and off every time, easily get in there to change the batteries or turn the light on. But what I also did was I made myself some sprue glue, which is basically, some people don't know what sprue glue is. It's basically half a pot of Tamiya thin, extra thin, that I had left over, and a whole mess of plastic card just cut into little tiny pieces and just bunged in. And what happens is the plastic card dissolves in the glue, and you just get this kind of white, thick fluid. It's kind of, I won't take the lid off because it'll drip everywhere, but also fumes. It kind of looks like PVA glue, but it's of course plastic with the Tamiya cement. What you've basically made when you do this is liquid plastic, and I use this as a filler. Now there's lots of different fillers you can use, but the one advantage of sprue glue is when it dries, it's effectively you just filling any gaps with plastic. And what you can do is take sprue from the kit you're building and use that in the glue instead of bits of plastic card, and then you're effectively filling any gaps with plastic from the kit. So you're filling the gap with the kit's own plastic. What it means is it sands really nicely. It's great for filling gaps. It's very tough, but it also means you can do things like if you need to redo any panel lines, any scribe any panel lines, this is brilliant because it behaves just like the plastic, the polystyrene in the kit. If you use CA glue, that's an absolute nightmare to scribe. Some fillers are fine to scribe and some are a bit crumbly. And if you just use like normal glues like I would normally use to fill a gap, that doesn't really scribe at all. But this stuff be really tough, and it's dead easy to sand, and if I needed to I can scribe it. I don't have to scribe it, thankfully, but I do show in the video how to make sprue bar. I talk about sprue glue. So if you've ever been looking at different thinners and you don't want to use, like me, I'm really lazy. I don't want to use milliput or squadron putty because it's just a faff. I just make some sprue goo and then I can fill the holes. Dead nice, all done. Perfect. And I can scribe it if I need to.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got some.
Sorry, Ted. Strange enough, nobody actually makes a product that does that. There's no, you can't go out and buy sprue goo. I know 1 or 2 companies were looking at making some, but nobody actually makes it. So if you want to get some, just get some plastic card or some sprue, get an old half pot of Tamiya extra thin, done. Other glues can be used, like MEK can be used as well, and TET and things like that. But as most of us know about Tamiya extra thin, if you've got half a pot left, make some sprue glue. It'll last you for years.
Yeah, it's always that case when you've got a little drop in the bottom of your glue pot. Just throw some plastic in it and start making your own, and just build it up as time goes on.
It does take quite a lot of stuff in there to make the goo. You've got quite a bit of sprue or plastic card, but the trick is really you want something that kind of has this consistency of PVA glue, so Elmer's glue, as the American would call it. So when you hold the brush up, it doesn't just drip off the brush. It kind of sits there like in a blob and just hangs. You want that kind of slightly droopy consistency so it can sit over your gap like a bead, and then it dries and flattens out and you can sand it back. It's good fun. The only other thing I would say is if you are making it, do it in a well-ventilated room, because you have the pot open, you're putting stuff in, you close the pot, you'll have the pot open quite a lot. You will get a lot of fumes. I got a right glue headache on Sunday morning because I was doing that all day on Saturday. So
yeah. I was just sort of reading through the chat, and I've got some email messages and questions coming in. So if you do have any messages, send them. I was just distracted a little bit.
Yes. What about you, Ted? How is your great endeavor going?
Right. Well, I sort of took a break. I posted the eModel video up the other week for the U-boat, and since then I was doing a bit of work on the new eMopen University. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. Released the first one just this weekend. It's been great fun to do, but unfortunately during the time of doing it, I think I mentioned last week, had a few issues with the camera and the editing software, but hopefully we've got that sorted now. And I'll probably try and do one of those every couple of weeks, just showing different products and how to use the products. So I will get round to the list of things that people want me to do. I thought that if I started doing the little weathering box, that if you've seen the video, you'll see it. Start with some chipping, then go on to do some dry brushing, and then some washes, and eventually sort of doing it like you would some armor, putting some rust on it as well, and build it up like that. And then eventually, if the eMopen University takes off, and we get plenty of students coming in.
Yeah, there's hello, banging away. There's some good reaction to the eMopen University video in the chat actually. For those of you who don't know, go to the eModels YouTube homepage, and it'll be like the second video on the page.
Yeah,
it's worth watching. It's worth watching. If you're British and you're around in the 70s and 80s, you'll kind of get it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just a bit of fun. We wanted some short, sharp tutorial videos that you could just watch. Doesn't take too long, doesn't take too long out of your time. They're about 10, we're planning to do them 10, 15, 20 minutes long. Just get in, do it, and get out without all the waffling about, but have a bit of fun as well.
Yeah,
so
you've got to be silly. I always find the best way to learn, well, I've always learned things best when a video keeps my interest. Even if it's an interesting subject, sometimes it can get quite boring. So if a video is also maybe a little bit fun at the same time, it makes learning fun. It's like the old Sesame Street, make learning fun. I always find interesting and silly videos and fun videos are much more better than somebody just saying, here's how you do a thing and here you go. And it's kind of boring.
So me and Foxx are working together on that, and we'll keep it going.
Yes. I did have a question very quickly. David Barker asks, Foxx, I've got an old bottle of normal Tamiya glue. Will that work as well? The normal stuff,
I think it will
for making sprue goo. Probably. It's naturally very thick though, and I don't know how it would dissolve the plastic. We're gonna try. Give it a try. You might not need to put as much plastic in there, or you might need to put more in, because this was about half a pot and I put a whole mess of plastic card in there, so it might take longer. But you kind of just keep dumping stuff in until you get, what I found is if you dump the plastic in, give it a good rummage, leave it for about an hour, then come back and give it a good shake. try the brush. It needs to be kind of not dripping off the brush. It needs to sort of sit there and hang like thick PVA. So just keep practicing with it. It should be fine, but I think most people do prefer the extra thin just because it's, I think, stronger. It's more, what's the word? It's not really caustic, but it dissolves the plastic perhaps a bit better because this is a true welding cement. That's kind of a welding cement, but thicker. So it might work, but it might not be as effective as dissolving your plastic. No, I don't. No, I don't wear pink nail varnish.
Not on Mondays, anyway.
Shh, Ted.
I see a question come in about thinner, and I've lost it now. See the soup. See the chat moves so quick. I did see a question about thinners and AK true metal or something. I do apologise, but chat moves so quickly.
If you had the question about thinners and Echo True Metal, do post it again in big capitals for me, please, so we can see it. Somebody asked about my ration box. When are you starting the ration pack diet? For those that don't know, I put a video up on my channel today. I ordered a British Army 24-hour OPR ration pack. So it's
is that what it was? I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've got it down there. It's basically the big box that a soldier will get when he's out on manoeuvres or anything. He's not actually at home base. He gets a big box full of edible stuff. That's his rations for the day. So you get breakfast, main meal, dessert, that kind of thing, and all snacks. I got one of those because I want to see what it's like to live off that for a day. Because I have great respect for the armed services and people that serve. So I want to kind of vicariously live in their shoes or walk a mile in their shoes for a day. And I know it's just eating the food, but that's all I can really do. So I'm going to give it a try. So at some point I'm going to film living off the rations for a day. I'll film it like a diary as I go through the day, see what happens. I've been told so far there's a lot of downsides. I may end up a bit egg bound, but we'll wait and see. There's also a big bag of dried fruit, and that may resolve the egg bound issue. So
yeah. Well, Zabike Mia has sent a question by email.
Oh yes.
Is this the one? I'm not quite. Sometimes the email addresses don't relate to the names that you've signed up to YouTube with. But we've got a question from Van. He just brought the Tacom T14 Armata and would like to know if there is a conversion chart from MIG paints to Vallejo. I think somebody asked this the other day in the Boom Hut as well, and I don't think there is one.
I've seen online. It's one of those things where you just have to kind of say, Google it. I have seen online and I've had before, and I can't remember where I got it from. It was some forum, but somebody took the time to do a big Excel spreadsheet with loads of different kinds of paints on it. And it was like Tamiya, Humbrol, I think Ammo were on there, Vallejo, and Mr. Colour and things. And it was kind of comparing all of the colours and giving you a rough equivalence of which was which. But I've not found today any kind of official list anywhere. But if you Google around like paint conversion chart, or even just Google like Vallejo to whoever or whatever it was, you probably find something on there.
Yeah, I have tried it because I do like using MIG paints myself. Because the U-boat being trumpeter, it lists the paints in what does it list the paints as? Vallejo, Model Master, Tamiya, and Humbrol, but it doesn't list them for MIG. And try as I might, I can't find a conversion chart direct from one to the other. Sometimes you have to work through from another manufacturer, and that manufacturer will tell you, but it's really hard to do and it does your head in.
I mean, a lot of the time as well, keep in mind that it depends. If you're one of those model makers that wants to get stunningly accurate and that into detail, or if you're just building it more for fun, it doesn't really matter. As long as you, if you look at, say, a manufacturer's color list and think, well, which one looks closest to the one I've got? Well, I've got that one. It's kind of almost the right color. That's fine. I mean, some people want to get exactly the right colors and get things spot on, but if you're if you want to be that accurate, then yes, you'll have to hunt around for conversion charts to see which is which. There'll never be an exact match, and nobody ever agrees as to what color is right for a model. But if you're not that fussed, just have a look through the other list and see which is closest to the one you've got, and just look at two. Just look at two different. You'll find online different color lists for all the different manufacturers. Sometimes you can just do it by eye, because you know what, that's fine. You don't have to be stunningly accurate. This is a fun hobby after all.
Yeah, so some of the paints do come under the REL or the what's the other,
Is it RLM?
federal, yeah, RLM, and the federal colours, and you can convert them from that, but not all of them. But sometimes near enough is good enough. Sometimes, so if you're doing it for fun, just do it. What you feel is right.
Do what you think looks right. In my mind, there are armored personnel carriers that are pink with Hello Kitty decals on them. It works in my mind. I have a question from Ron Mack.
Yeah.
Question. I need to rescribe some panel lines, but I think I went too deep and it does not look right. How do I do it right? Quite easy.
Yeah, fill them in again and start again.
Yeah, if you've gone too deep, you just want to, if you've got some thinners, if you've got some fillers, just fill those in again. Again, if you want to use, say, sprue glue, that's good for scribing, or just fillers like Milliput and Squadron Putty, they're generally good for scribing. The trick is, get yourself a scribing tool. This is the Tamiya scribing tool. Other scribing tools are available. And all you do is, if you've gone too deep, what a lot of people do, and I did when I first got this, was you put it on the plastic and you go, and you drag it down and you push down and then you gouge it, and it's not how you do it. What you want to do is, when you do use it on the surface, you want to do it almost at just its own weight, like that, almost no pressure whatsoever, and drag it along, and that will just very lightly scribe it, and then just do exactly the same again. You really are putting no pressure on at all. That way you can build the line up slowly, and you can go, right, that's right, I can stop now, because then you can look at it, compare it to all the panel lines. If you go in full pressure straight away, you're just gouging the plastic out, and that's where you might slip and gouge it. Also, people do know this, but when you're doing a panel line, what you want to use is some kind of tape to work the panel scribing tool across. And a lot of people find that Dymo tape is one of the best ones. If you remember when I was a kid in the 70s, you had those Dymo machines where you got a piece of tape and you punched it, you'd set the letter in it, and you could punch name tags and things into it. It's called Dymo, D-Y-M-O. Just have a look for Dymo tape. It's the thick adhesive tape, but it's really stiff. And the beauty is when you put it down, so you want to scribe a line here, you put the Dymo tape just off to the edge, and you run your scribing tool along, and the Dymo tape isn't going to shift and bend and buckle. Normal masking tape will just buckle, and if you slip it, it'll just pull the tape up. Dymo tape will keep it straight and true. Some people put it on one side, some people put it on both sides, so they can't move the scribing tool to the left and right. But the real trick is just go slowly, take your time, and start gently. The first marks should be almost invisible, and just use the weight of the tool. Don't push down on it.
Yeah. For my scribing tool, I've got a dentist tool.
Yeah, that's the other option.
Teeth. And I did see a video on YouTube once. Some Japanese master was showing how to scribe panel lines, and I think he was using something like this rather than a bespoke panel line scriber. And
those little dental tools are kind of round edge, so they're quite nice because they're not gonna like a modeling knife will gouge out a V shape, and that's why you often get like panel lines like that. But these are designed to do square, and the dental ones are similar. They'll be slightly softer edges. But carry on, Ted. Sorry.
Yeah. This Japanese master that I saw on YouTube, I can't remember where it was or what the address was, but he described, he did it, and he said that the material you should be taking off becomes like dust, and quite rightly, that if you do it slow enough and light enough, the panel lines do come out as dust. So that's no pressure, just let the tool do the work. So that's my bit. Anyway, I'm just trying to catch. I'm sorry, I can't find that.
Well, it's all right. The chat has kind of gone into rations and army stuff, which is fine.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the question was, can you use thinners with AK True Metal? I have heard of people that have tried it. I'm unsure of the results. What thinners you would use, I'm not too sure.
The wax-based ones, aren't they?
It's a wax-based one, so I'm thinking maybe an enamel thinner.
If I remember rightly, I'm sure I saw a video where they were showing how to put them through airbrush, and I'm pretty sure it was the same thinners that you would use for oil paints or enamel. So standard odorless terpenoid, odorless oil paint thinners. Because with enamels and oils, you can use the same thinners. So white spirits, terps. or odorless thinners. And I always say odorless thinners that you get, you know, instead of like terps and white spirit, because they stink. Odorless thinners aren't scent free, but they don't stink. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain they were just using those and just thin them down with those. But if you are doing that, make sure your airbrush is solvent safe.
Yeah, I think Alec mentioned in chat there he used enamel odorless thinners.
Yeah.
So yeah, that must be it. I haven't actually thinned them. I've found that they're ideal. Well, I haven't applied them with an airbrush, so I wouldn't know. On that note, I do remember we've had a question today about spraying metallics. I'll just see if I can find it.
Yeah, Tony Black says the AK wax base will dilute with white spirit. I've done it. So yes, so white spirit, turpentine, or odorless paint thinners, which are all kind of the same. They're all natural. They're not what's the phrase I'm looking for? They're natural thinners. They're based on the pine stuff that turpentine comes from. They're not artificial. Yeah, I can't think of the words, but yes.
Now, the question that prompted my memory then was sent in by Paul Stewart. A couple of things. As I recall, you've used the true metal paints on the boot. What's your opinion of them, and how easy are they to use? Well, I like them. They are easy to use. They go quite well. Just put them on thinly, either with a cotton bud, or I've just used my finger just to put them on.
Yeah. I know Tony used them for dry brushing on his speeder bike, and he loves them for metallic dry brushing. Yeah, for those things.
Yeah, really do quite a lot with them, and I've found that if you leave them in the natural state, just on the piece itself, they do tend to scratch off. I think I've got some bits and pieces in here, actually. Put them on with a black primer, and yeah, I've got some old shells out of my tank there. If you can see it, I can't quite see it because it's not getting in focus enough.
I think you have to manually focus, wouldn't you, Ted?
If you leave them, unfortunately, they scratch off. So they do take to I'm out of focus. They do take to a varnish. A Winsor & Newton varnish will do them. So give them a coat of varnish and they'll last a little bit longer.
Smoo asks, sort of on that topic, Smoo asks, some people use lighter fluid for thinning. What's the drawbacks? None, because there's not that much difference between lighter fluid and odorless paint thinners and turpentine and white spirit. They're all mineral spirits. They're not synthetic. Okay, this is where I will get this wrong, so feel free to shout me out. There's two real types of thinners. There's mineral spirits, and there's the non-mineral spirits, which are based on pine residue. Now, I'll get this wrong. I think turpentine is based on pine residue. I think oil paint thinners are based on mineral spirits. I can't remember. There's a distinction, but they all do the same thing for thinning oils and enamels and lighter fuel. It's just another petroleum product, which I think it makes it mineral spirits, not pine residue. It's an offshoot of refining oil. So yeah, absolutely fine. Lighter fuel, it's just another petroleum product. It's no different, and it's a lot. You can go to the corner shop and get a tin of it.
As Chris Williams said, you can't smoke while using it.
Yeah, best not. Well, with anything, best not to smoke at the workbench. But the other thing, of course, is a lot of Gunpla builders will use lighter fluid for doing things like reverse washes, where they're using enamels. They paint a piece in an acrylic color, give it a nice either lacquer or hard acrylic coat to seal it. Then they go over with an enamel, and then they use, often it's lighter fluid, just to rub off the enamel where they want raised details to pop. That's called a reverse wash, and a lot of people will use lighter fluid for that as well. So nothing wrong with it at all.
I think the general consensus in chat is that lighter fluid is just a bit more volatile.
Yeah, you've got to be.
I think it's really a last resort, and I think generally thinners and other sort of similar products are cheap enough now that it's probably about the same price as lighter fluid anyway. Yeah,
it's always best to use products designed for the thing you want to use. There's nothing wrong with using other products that do the same thing, but I can't say how lighter fluid residue on a model will hold up after 5 or 10 years. Would any residue go yellow? I don't know. Probably not. It'd probably be fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you can get proper thinners though, it's always recommended because you're using the right tool for the job.
Yeah. Just moving on, we'll take the second part of Paul's question. I think you'd probably be able to answer this one because I think you've done it. Have I used the extreme metal paints? I haven't. The ones by Vallejo, they seem to be designed for airbrush rather than True Metal's brush application.
I haven't used them, but like I said, I have watched a video of how to use them, and you can put them through an airbrush. You have to stir them quite a lot. I think you have to thin them a fair bit, but you can airbrush them. They do look quite good, actually. Yeah,
I know we've both of us have found that airbrushing metallic colours does give a better look and a finish to the paint.
Yeah. Chris Smith says, "Evening all. Sorry I'm late. I brought a 6-pack and 6 kebabs. Who wants one?" Well, they all go to me and Ted, obviously. So obviously, it's not a question you need to ask, is it?
Yeah, it depends what 6-pack it is.
It's big, Ted. Doesn't matter.
It can't be fussy. Yeah. So yeah, I never use them really, Paul. I haven't sprayed them. I don't really know, but I have heard a lot of decent reports about them. So maybe.
Yeah, I keep meaning to try different things to get me off the Tamiya Chrome Silver and the Ammo Steel and some other paint products that I won't mention here. But there are, there's so many like nice metallics around. It pays to just try them out and see what you think, because different paints will have different advantages. Like I say, Tony loves those. The AK, I think he's used the True Metal, not the Extreme Metal. I think he used the True Metal for dry brushing, and he loved it. Like dry brushing silver colours over blacks and stuff. He loved it, so he couldn't sing their praises enough. Oh. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, if you can afford to, it's worth getting one to try it. You might hate it, you might love it, or you might find a use for it in your sort of repertoire of tools. So if you're ever not sure, just try it.
Yeah, there's lots of information. Just Google something. That's usually everything's answered on there, and you'll find somebody somewhere on YouTube using it. So
the chat seems to have evolved into talk about kebabs and military rations and firing guns. Somebody says that the boom hut has now devolved into memories of military rations, so I've started something, obviously. But yeah, if anybody's have you got any more questions there from the emails, Ted?
Yeah, I have.
While they were reminiscing about their army days in the chat.
What's the best way, says Robert Geary, what's the best way to get a nice wood effect? They're looking to do some on a trailer bed, 1/35th scale, sent from his iPhone.
From his iPhone, I like that.
Yeah, whether that bit, that whole bit comes up. What's the best way to get a nice wood effect? I actually did some of that.
Yes, I've tried and never succeeded, so I'll hand this one over to you.
Yeah, I've actually used which set did I use? I actually used a set from MIG. It's tool colours. I think there is one for wood, but in this one, it's if you get this one, it does everything because it comes with a set of. I've got them all. Where are they? It comes with a set of wood colours in it for doing wooden handles. On tools, as you can see on the box, wooden handles on tools, and it's a matter of starting with a darker colour, start with a lighter colour, and then do the grain with a thin brush, just draw it on, and really do it that way. But there is a set of tool colours which include wood, and it just contains all the right colours: old wood, light wood, and new wood.
See, the few times I've tried doing wood, I've always started with something like, say, Tamiya red brown, then done some washes over it to darken the recesses, and then done dry brushing to bring the lighter colours back. I've never been horrendously successful at it. It never comes back looking like wood. Somebody did mention, though, in the comments, we're assuming he's talking about how to paint wood. He might be saying, how do you make something look like wood out of wood? And somebody did suggest lollipop sticks. If you're doing planks and things, lollipop sticks are great because they're dead cheap. Plus, you get to eat a lolly.
Yeah, I get the idea. He's building a trailer in one. As he said, he's building a trailer bed in 1/35th scale. So I'm probably thinking he's doing something like my AFV Matador, where the trailer bed is in there. Usually, something. He's got a lot of dust in there. Usually, the printing on the heart will have a wood grain type effect on it, as this one does, and it's just a matter of bringing that out. Yeah,
you can pick that up with a nice dry brush though. So I mean, that's where my method of it, the darker colours, then the I nearly said shades then your washes, and then the dry brushing to bring it back. And I often find as well when I've tried it, and I say I'm not the expert, it doesn't usually work for me, but introduce some other colours like greens. Greens are great to put on wood. If it's supposed to be old wood, you'll have bits of wood that have got some green. If it's where water's pooling, put some greens in there with some dry brushing as well.
Trailer bed, yeah, you're thinking perhaps they've had some engines dumped on it, some oil stains and all sorts. So you've got to really got a towel on it. Yeah, have a go. But yeah, have a look at the tool colour sets, and I'm sure MIG do somewhere in one of the tutorials paint. They do a whole series of YouTube videos on painting wood. Which I found quite useful, and I picked up a lot of tips for it. They've painted a garden fence, you know, as you said, when it goes green at the bottom and it sort of starts climbing up, and then the rot and the different colours of the fence panels and things like that. But that's probably about one of the easiest ways. Go for a kit and you get all the colours.
Yeah, I think we've discovered in the chat that quite a few people in the chat are actually ex-forces, so thank you for your service. What we got? Vincent says, by the way, Fox, that rooty tooty fruity stuff that I've got, this like tutti frutti powder tried to water, has been around since World War II, I believe. The packet I've got probably has as well. I'll probably have the same effect. Sergeant Bones and Mike Mountain say just a few Scots. I think we've got quite a few ex-forces. Scott Sutherland, I assume, has just put his number up, 2510253. Alan says just a few ex-forces. He was RAF. Don't laugh. Nothing wrong with being in the RAF. Simon D says even a sailor here. There you go.
Oh,
wow. Mike Mountain's collar number. A collar number. He's not a policeman. What's it not? It's not a serial number, is it? What's it called? I read it on the thing earlier on today.
Name, rank, and number.
Yeah, 242-85824.
Yeah, it's surprising. You get these guys that have been out of the army and years and become retired and old gentlemen that are you see them walking around and they still remember their army number.
I mean, I suppose the thing is, we shouldn't be surprised that a lot of people in the hobby are, say, ex-forces, because I suppose if you're working around all this equipment and machinery and material all the time, it kind of makes sense that when you leave, you're going to still have an affinity for that kind of stuff, and you know, it makes sense that perhaps people who leave the forces then go off to make models of the vehicles and equipment they used to use. You know, it makes a lot of sense. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of, you know, my followers and your followers in the Boom Hut and in here in the chat are actually ex-forces, and they all have my great respect for doing that.
Right. Michael.
Actually, Paul Stewart says, question, Ted, can you remember your warrant number, your collar number?
Yes.
Moving on.
Yeah, it was 461. It was simple.
461?
Yeah. But because I was the old school, when I joined, what you used to do was get somebody's old collar number. So that would have been somebody else many years ago that has left. And after a certain time, they reissue the number again. So I became 461. But since a few years ago, everybody is now starting to get unique numbers. First of all, they started with 10. And then, no, what they did was first the male officers had a number and the female officers had a number. Then obviously that became discriminatory. So everybody had the same number. And then each year it was started with 10, then it became 11 and 12 and ad infinitum. Eventually they'll have a whole row of numbers. They won't be able to fit them on the shoulders.
I was kind of hoping you'd give some collar number that was like straight out of the bill, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's Tony Stamp or Polly Page or something. 343 from Sierra Oscar receiving.
Yeah, I keep looking for it on police programs such as the bill and what's the other one?
That's the only one I care about, Ted, the bill.
Yeah.
Alan says service number. Yes, thank you, Alan. it's service number. I can remember it's not a serial number, it's service number. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I keep looking on police programs and detective series and see if anybody's got my number, but never seen anyone yet. Close.
Yeah, so when you radioed back base, you know, like in the bill, they always say, you know, Sierra Oscar from 343. What was base called? What were the phonetics for base? I guess it was
just control.
Control.
Yeah,
that's boring.
On the control. Yeah, it's dull, really.
I grew up on the bill, so
Yeah,
About 3 years ago, I spent about 2 years watching every single episode of The Bill. There's like 4,000 episodes.
Yeah, yeah, but now the radios that they have, the police radios that they have now, they're pretty good actually. They're like mobile telephones. I could, from here in Cumbria, talk to a colleague in London if I knew his number, because each area has their own specific dialing code. I could dial up and speak to a specific officer in London directly. And the radios now, when you press the button to talk to control, the number flashes up so you know who it is.
I have some interesting information. I have 2 interesting points to make. One is the best thing ever. Ant says his mum's cousin was in The Bill.
Oh, wow.
We need to know who. Was he a regular? Was he just a walk-on? Was it? Because I know everybody in The Bill. I know all the people. So I don't know them. I mean, I know them. Beyond Hope says, good question. Have you guys approached eModels about supporting models for heroes in any way? I don't know if the gang at eModels have any plans, but we can certainly pass that on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Carl said Pete's watching the ISM live show, so he's aware of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, yeah, we can certainly, if they don't already know about it, I'm sure they will. They may already be doing something, but yeah, certainly we can give them a prod.
So
it's a very good thing that Models Heroes. I like that. I must do some stuff for that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up with chat again. As
it's hopeless.
We do apologise that we have missed some questions while we've been chatting away, and we are trying to find them again.
Yes, maybe do your questions in capital or put question on it.
Even with the capitals, the chat still moves so quickly.
Yeah.
You try to scroll up and somebody types at the bottom, so it just moves up again. So we do apologise.
Ant says no big deal. No, if your relative was in The Bill, it's a big deal. We need to know these things. My friend's cousin's TK says my friend's mum's cousin was in The Bill.
Yeah, one thing about being in the police as well, you sometimes tell people that you're a policeman. Oh yeah, I'm a policeman. Oh, my aunt's cousin's a policeman. He works in Scunthorpe. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't. Yeah. So that was that. Anyway, that's moving on. No, I didn't have a rattle. And no, I wasn't a peeler.
He's not that old. He's not far off, but he's not that old.
Look it. Yeah, I just had a big beat. That was all. Yeah.
Ted's not that old. It's just his camera doesn't do focus very well. So.
Yeah, I'm out of focus. So right. Right, I've got down to the bottom of the chat again. Unfortunately, folks, I can't find the questions.
No, I wouldn't worry. This it's mostly chatting about police, army, the bill, and rations now. So we've just sent them off on a whole wild goose chase of all kinds of conversations.
Yeah, well, we all had, the police, army, air force, everything had one thing in common. If there was food about, we were there.
Yeah, always.
Always. Yeah. If there was if there was free food, we would be there.
Sounds like me, but I've never been in the armed service or the police, so. I'm a natural. Any more questions on the emails?
Yes, I'm just reading one here from Smooth.
Yes.
I know that Smooth's with us. Terry here from Smooth's Workshop, and a question relating to the use of retarders and flow improvers. Are retarders and flow improvers just the same thing? I know a retarder slows the drying time of the paint, and flow improver supposedly makes the paint come out of the airbrush more easily. Do you guys use any of these when you're painting, and if so, which ones? As we know, it's been rather warm in the UK recently, and he's had a problem with spraying his paint. It was drying almost as it left his airbrush and affected his model. He did thin the paint slightly more and took the pressure down and moved the airbrush closer. That helped a bit, but not much. Would retarder or flow improver help this?
I think the big difference between the two is that the retarder is there to sort of slow the drying process. Yeah. The flow improver is there to help the pigment that's in your paint not just disperse too easily. So it means it will help the paint go through the airbrush, not like a thinner, whereas a thinner may affect how the paint actually sits in suspension. A flow improver means it just kind of, it helps it move through the airbrush when you're thinning it, but it also makes sure the paint pigment behaves and you don't just end up with a really watery thin wash. It's a bit like using, I was saying in the video the other day about the difference between actually thinning a paint for a wash or using a medium for a wash. If you use a medium, it means the paint still behaves like paint, whereas a thinner, it goes into recesses. But yeah, in this hot weather, airbrushing, it can be difficult because the paint is drying out. So normally I wouldn't use flow improvers or retarders. I never actually have, never needed to. But especially in hot weather or hot climates, a lot of people do, because they have the problem of it just aerosolizing and drying out before it even gets near the model.
Yeah, I do have some. I have some of the Vallejo retarder, but I've never actually used it. But yeah, this last week it has been a bit of a problem for everybody, either being in the workshop or spray painting. But yeah, just let it cool off, let the weather cool off a little bit, do something else, and then come back to it later. But yeah, I think even with the retarders and flow improvers, you're still going to have a problem.
Yeah,
it's just the weather. It's just a one-off. In the UK, weather doesn't last that long.
Yeah, so, but I mean, you can use both in a paint. You can use a retarder and a flow improver. If you're using a particularly thick paint and it's drying out really fast, you could use both. I don't really. Some people use them all the time, and it doesn't do any harm. A lot of people use things like retarders when they're brush painting and they're putting paint on the palette, and they don't want it to dry out too fast. You can put a retarder in it then as well. It's not just airbrushing. That'll help it stop drying out so fast. Or you could just make a wet palette, of course, which is much better. Yeah,
wet palette, easy to do, cheap, easy, and they work. Yeah,
but not for airbrushing, obviously, because it doesn't help you with an airbrush.
He also goes on to say, he swears that some people swear by using Mr. Colour self-leveling lacquer-based thinner with Tamiya acrylics. But this kind of defeats the purpose. It's just a continuation of the question.
Yeah, the Mr. Colour self-leveling lacquer thinner is apparently very good. Again, I've not used it, but my understanding is that it's designed to help the paint level out as smooth as possible, and you can get really smooth paint finishes. You wouldn't use it for acrylic paints because it's a lacquer thinner, not an acrylic thinner. But Tamiya paints are more akin to lacquers than they are acrylics. So things like Mr. Colour paints, the lacquer paints, Gunze Sanyo, Tamiya paints, things like that, they're all lacquers. Yeah, it's supposed to be a very, very good thinner because it does have that self-leveling property, which gives you a really nice smooth finish.
That leads us on to Chris Williams' question. It's about different paints. The only one he actually understands is oils, right? Then there's acrylic, lacquer, enamel, and so on. What's the difference? Is one type better or for different things? Aren't Tamiya and Citadel both acrylic? Altogether, but they're different. Yeah. And then he's help. I'm quite with you there on that one, Chris. There is a minefield of stuff out there, and each product has its own sort of ideal uses, not so good uses. Enamel paints take longer to dry, but they can go on smooth. And they're easy to work with. You can blend them while they're still wet and things like that, and they go on hard. Acrylics are quick drying, but once they're on, they're softer, they're easier to damage. Lacquers, it's just really a world on their own. Once again, they're hard, a little bit like enamels. They're just hard, easier, sorry.
It's confusing, isn't it?
It's confusing. The
only way, go on, sorry, you carry on.
Tamiya are alcohol based as opposed to Citadel. I think that you're an expert on the Citadel now.
Tamiya are the odd ones in the pack, because like I said a minute ago, Tamiya technically aren't acrylics, but they're labeled as acrylics, but they're not water based, they're alcohol based, and they're actually closer to lacquer paints, which is why Tamiya paints are as tough as nails, even though they're called acrylics. So it does get confusing. The way I kind of figured it out, and the easiest way to think of it is don't get hung up on it too much. You've got acrylics, which are water based, dry really fast. You can't do a lot with them other than painting them on. You can do washes and things, but you can't do things like gunk washes. They dry very fast. That's their advantage. They dry very fast, but they can be scraped off easily. Oils, as you know, they take forever to dry, and you can work and blend with them really nicely. Enamels, think of them a bit like oils. They just don't take as long to dry. The difference is in the fluids and the binding agents that are used and the pigments. But think of enamels similar to oils, but enamels are more like normal paints. You can airbrush them, you can paintbrush them, and you can work with them for a while. And lacquers are hardcore solvent-based, toxic paints that will turn your lungs inside out. If you go into a body shop, car paints are lacquers. They do use acrylics as well, but car paints are traditionally lacquers. So lacquers are the hardest, toughest paints. They're also totally toxic. Enamels and oils are the ones you can work with for a long time. And acrylics are the ones that dry fast. Tamiya aren't acrylics. They're more like lacquers. They're kind of an in-between. And I wouldn't worry about it too much. The big trick is to know what you can put on top of other paints. The general rule is don't mix different paint types. So you would never, for example, paint a lacquer paint on top of any other kind of paint, because lacquers are super hot solvents. If you put lacquer paint on top of acrylic, enamel, or oil, it will just eat into that paint, reactivate it, and you'll get a mess. But on the other hand, with lacquer paints, if you can put any other paint on top of lacquers because they're dead tough. So it's kind of confusing, but just try and stick to one type. My way to think of it is I like to use acrylics for the actual painting. So your base colours, acrylics because you can airbrush them, they're dead quick to dry. For weathering, I stick to oils and enamels. Lacquers I hardly ever use, but if I do use one, it's normally something like the Mr. Metal colour, because they give a nice, they're the buffable metals, they're lacquer paints. So if it helps, just break it down into base colours, airbrushing, all that kind of stuff, use acrylics. Enamels and oils used for your weathering. You can use them for other stuff, but if you're trying to just get started out, just think of it simply that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
there's no quick way to answer that. And Chris did something
we always get one of those questions that we need a video to explain it. Yeah.
Chris did send me a message and I've sent you a question, but it might take you a while to answer it.
He goes on to say, is there a limit to the number of varnish coats you should use? He keeps seeing on videos to put one on the base coat over the decals, then one over some of the weathering, and then some over the top of everything else, and it goes on and on ad infinitum. Eventually you're going to lose detail. But no, basically I would put one on to protect the base coat, the main colour of your vehicle, whatever it is. Put your decals on, then protect the decals, and then start your weathering.
Yeah.
And then if anything goes wrong with your weathering, usually you can get it off and start again.
Yeah. I mean, sorry,
so,
yeah, you can. I mean, you can do as many coats as you want. I've done kits where I've done like 4 or 5 different coats, but traditionally, what you could do is, like Ted says, gloss coat, decals. Gloss coat gives you a smooth surface. Decals go on top because they need a smooth surface, and then either a gloss or a matte coat to lock those in. And then you can do all your weathering. And if you're doing things like oil, say enamel weathering, you don't have to put any more varnish on till the very end. If you're using enamels, for example, for your streaks and your filters and stuff, you can do one layer of enamel weathering and just leave it for 24 hours to dry. Then you can go over with another layer of enamel weathering, leave it for 24 hours to dry. And by giving it 24 hours between each layer of enamel weathering, you won't reactivate the older paint. So you can just do 2 gloss coats or your weathering with enamels and whatever you want, and then your final matte top. But no, you're not going to really obscure detail unless you're putting like 20 or 30 or 40 coats on. I watched a video of some guy doing 100 gloss coats on a model once. Yeah, that was a mess. Yeah. You need to do 100 gloss coats.
And I think if you are going to put too many coats of varnish on, sometimes if you're only using a few decals on your model, you could just gloss varnish the area where the decals are going to sit, and you won't have to do the rest of it, and then just gloss or matte coat across the top of that. So,
I mean, the only reason I would normally add an extra layer of varnish after doing the decals and the 2 coats of gloss there is if, for example, I've done gloss, decals, gloss, and then I do an oil paint gunk wash. I will then, when that's had 5 days to dry, I will go over that with, say, a matte, or well, usually a matte varnish, just to make sure, because there'll still be little bits where it might pull the paint up. So I'll always lock a gunk wash in, just to be safe. But if you're doing enamel, say weathering with enamels, you can just leave 24 hours between each coat, whether you're doing filters or, you know, dot filters or anything like that. And even if you're doing oil paint weathering with like oil dot filters, where it's a very thin coat of paint, or streaking, you can even leave them 24 hours. And when you come back the next day, you can put on more layers, and the thinners in those paints won't reactivate the layer you did the day before. So if you're doing very thin coats like filters, that kind of stuff, 24 hours is fine for oils and enamel, so you don't need to put coats of varnish on between each of those.
Yeah. I get questions coming all the time. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's about it. Yeah, so don't be worried about putting too many coats of varnish on unless you're putting hundreds on.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Just your light mist coats and do it that way. Questions coming in. Another one from Vincent. Any experience with panzer putty for masking? Any benefits over liquid mask, such as the Abtaline stuff, which is just natural latex? Yeah, we've seen the pink stuff. I've got some around somewhere. We'll answer that question first. Panzer putty. I use blue tack. I use blue tack. You can use white tack, which some people say is less oily and doesn't leave a residue on your vehicle. That compared to the masking up, the Maskols, the liquid mask, the panzer putty will give you a more solid line, as the Maskol is really a little bit more difficult to work with. What I would do, I would mask off with masking tape first before I'd use Maskol, and then cover any spare bits with that. But the panzer putty, just use blue tack. I've seen people use it. It is all right, but I haven't actually got any. Maskol does become messy, but it does work. I can't find it.
One thing you can do with blue tack that you can't do in Maskol is get soft edges as well. If you're doing, if you've got a camouflage pattern, and let's say you want this and you want a thing of color here like that, but you want a slight soft edge, like a feathered edge, like it's on an aircraft or a tank, you can make a sausage of the blue tack or the white tack or the putty. This is what putty can be used for. You can make it into a sausage, and then you've got this sausage shape here in your surface here. When you spray with the airbrush, the paint will, I'm doing it the wrong way now, the paint will come down, but it can't get down here into this to give you a crisp edge. And what you'll do is you get this, if you angle your airbrush right, you'll get a nice feathered edge, and it's how you can get a kind of soft feathered edge to your camouflage areas.
Yeah, one of the first builds I did for eModels, and you'll probably find it on eModels website because Foxx has kindly put everything into playlists now. I did the Challenger tank, and I I used blue tack to camouflage that, to do the camouflage masking on that. If you go and have a look and see how it's done and see if it's the effect that you want. It does keep quite a hard edge. If you press it down, it does give a hard edge. You
can make it go flat and squishy, or you can make a big fat tube. You can. That's why things like putties and blue tack's great, because you can vary the effect you get.
Yeah, and there's lots of other ways as well. Masking. I've used post-it notes, just cut into shape, or pieces of paper, and just sprayed over them. Like I was going to say French something else, but French curves.
It's steady now. Family show.
It's a family show. I nearly said it. I nearly said French, but French curves.
Showing your age there, Ted, if you're going to call it that.
Never mind. Yes, you older gentlemen in the room will know what we're on about.
Yes.
There's lots of ways, but panzer putty over Maskol. I will go for panzer putty because the other stuff, as somebody already mentioned in chat, stinks.
Maskol's got ammonia in it. So the other thing to be aware of Maskol is, like, I just remembered myself. Talking rubbish. Maskol does have ammonia in it, and bear in mind things like your Pledge floor care finish 2 times more shine will be removed by ammonia. So just keep that in mind when you're using anything that might be removed by ammonia.
Yeah, Maskol is quite good for doing chipping effects. I think Ant's done some chipping effects recently with Maskol, and it works brilliantly.
Yep, if you're trying to recreate the old ILM way of doing big fat chips on things, it's a brilliant way of doing it.
Right. And then he goes on to ask about burnishing fluids for white metal tracks. I haven't actually used them, but I've seen them used, and I've seen model railroad people use them, model railroads, being American now. I've seen railway modelers using them for burnishing tracks, And yeah, brilliant. It doesn't take long to do. The stuff seems to last for ages, because once you've used it, just pour it back in a bottle. And you, yeah, I've heard good stuff about it, but I've never used them. I will do one day. So that's all the questions I've got at the moment in emails. I do have one or two others, but I think as we have a look at what's in store, we'll answer a couple of them.
I do have one question that's just popped up. Gary Furnival says, question, what's a good paintbrush for scale models?
All of them.
How long is a piece of string? All of them. You can go from anything from, I don't know, anything from like super tiny for detail painting up to, if I can reach it, things this big, which is actually an artist's oil paint brush for dry brushing and painting big areas. Any brush is good. You need, I would say, ideally what you want is one really, really small one for detail painting, and the army painter brushes and things like that are really, really good. One really small one for detail painting, a couple of sort of slightly bigger round tip ones for blocking in color in areas, and then at least one flat square one that's nice and soft for things like dry brushing and getting edges and things like that. That's probably a bare minimum. So sort of tiny one, a nice round average size one, so something like, to find one now, I don't know, something, this one's a bit splayed, but if I can find it, it's a bit splayed, but that's an old brush, but something like that size for blocking in areas of color, and then something flat and square and soft for doing dry brushing, and you'd be fine. But I would just say buy lots of brushes, because you never know what you might use them for.
Yeah, buy the best you can afford, and just every time you go in a model shop,
just pick one up.
Just pick one up. Yeah, just build up slowly.
Yeah.
Because you'll never have the right size brush for what you want to do. You might do a little bit, yeah. And you go, oh, okay. So yeah, you'll have to make do amends. So
Alex Coutel says the Windsor Series 7 brushes. I was going to mention those now. My brain farted and I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, army painted brushes, Windsor Series 7 brushes. If you can get them, the Citadel paint brushes are actually really good. They don't last particularly forever, but they're all right. They're really good. But just start off with a few and just work, because as you use them, you'll realize, well, this isn't very good. I need something bigger to paint this area. And then you'll start just picking them up every time you go into the model store. You'll pick up a brush and go, oh, I like that one. Or go to your local art shop and have a look at all the range of brushes that you can see in the thing. If you go to an art shop, they'll be super expensive. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Start small and not too expensive and work your way up.
And as Tony Black says, look after the brushes and they'll last. Yeah. They won't last forever, but they will last longer.
Yeah. Somebody asked us last week, how many brushes do we have? And I've got like 70 or 80 brushes, but they're brushes I've bought over the last 30 years, and I haven't, apart from ones that I've gunked up with masking fluid, I've not yet thrown a brush away, because even when they're old and battered and splayed, you can find a use for them.
And there's all sorts of bristles, Kolonsky sable, nylon, badger hair, and it goes on and on. You pay for what you get, really, but look after them and it'll do. Right, shall we go and have a look at what's in store?
Yes, while you do that, Tedward, I may have to vacate my chair just for a few moments.
Right.
So I'll let you lock the screen on you. I need to lock the screen on you, don't you?
So yes, you're in charge tonight.
Yes, I've got the big powerful button finger tonight. So I think I've locked it on you. So if you want to do your screen sharey thing,
right,
and while you're entertaining the crowd, I shall quietly slip away for a few moments.
Yep. Remember to turn your mic off.
Yeah, I'm not. My mic's over there. Can the yes, Paul, I do need a wee. I was trying to be polite. Can you just confirm that you are seeing Ted now, please, in the chat? Because it never seems to work when I do the lock screen. Are you all seeing Tedward? No, I've not eaten the ration packs yet, Tony. That's not those.
Take off your headset.
Yes, it won't come with me.
Yeah. Right. Is it locked on?
No, nobody's telling me if it's locked on you, so I'll assume it's locked on you.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Let's go to
going, and I shall be back momentarily.
Yep. Right, it's got me. Let's have a look at what's in store tonight then.
That was me then.
That's you. Right, we've got an aircraft to start with. I picked this one because there was a whole squadron. I'm not sure how many aircraft are in a squadron, but there seemed to be a whole squadron flew down the length of Lake Windermere today, and they make an awesome sight and an awesome noise as well. Yes, this is the Revell 1/32 Tornado. Nice little kit. 1/32, nice and big. So there's going to be bags of detail in this. I built the Revell 1/32 Typhoon, the new Typhoon, and it was quite a good kit, really. And with the decals in this one, you can see it's quite well marked up. Obviously, being Revell, it's shown in the Luftwaffe colours. It's still a Luftwaffe. TK says we don't see my screen.
Hey, honey, I'm home.
TK says we haven't seen his screen.
What?
Hang on. He says I'm not screen sharing. Something's gone wrong here.
Have you pressed the button again, Ted?
I've not pressed the button.
Oh. Where's he gone? Where's he gone?
Screen sharing. No, it's not screen sharing.
Okay, let me take it off you then, and you try again.
No,
had that well then, didn't I?
Screen share. Sharing. No, it just goes to skip a scale models. It doesn't share the screen. Foxx broke it. Why is it not screen share?
Tell you what then, Ted. Do you want to send me the links for each product, and I will bring them up on my screen?
Right.
I don't know how you do this, but we'll figure it out.
Right. If I do that.
Let me open a thing of Chrome. See, folks, we rehearsed this very, very carefully.
At least we haven't lost you this week like we did last week.
Yeah. Google freaked out last week and broke it. Have you sent me the link, Edward?
I was sending it. Hang on. I'll put it in chat for you.
Yes.
Nothing ever goes right.
No. Ted's broken the entire internet.
I've broken the internet. Hang on. I'll have to send you it via Messenger. Come on.
Well, tell you what, here's an easy way to do it. Why don't I just start screen sharing and you tell me what it is and I'll find it on the eModels website.
I'll do that.
That would work. That would work.
Yeah, I'll give you the product number.
Yeah. Okay, let me start my screen sharage then. This is where it all goes really wrong now. Screen share. Your entire screen. Right, so people in the chat, can you see my screen now, people in the chat? Please let me know if this is working. Please, for the love of God, tell me it's working.
Yeah, well, I can see it.
Okay, right. So let me maximize it so people are not seeing the chat twice. Right, what do we have?
Right, try hashtag 04923.
04923. Ding. There we go.
That's it. The Revell 1/32 Tornado.
Yep. Do you want to do the talking, Ted?
Tag me. Yeah, I was telling folk that today, I'll pick this one today because there seemed to be a whole squadron of them flew down the lake today, making an awesome noise and an awesome sight. And this is the Revell one, a 1/32, so it's going to be huge. It's big. That's me.
I'm just going to look it to me. So I want to make sure. Can you see me? Is you seeing it again?
Yeah.
There we go.
It's locked on you now.
Yes. Good.
Yeah. So yeah. So for you aircraft guys, I know this is an old aircraft and it's been around a few years now and it's battle hardened. But
you can't not like a Tornado, there, can you?
Yeah. Brilliant little aircraft.
Grew up in the 70s and 80s, you kind of like Tornado.
And yeah, and I know that Revell do some fantastic. I think the cartograph decals, and you can't go far wrong with that.
Yeah, it can't be a bit of a cartograph decal action.
I would like to hand paint that colour scheme anyway. Right, the next one we've got.
Yes, just to let you know that, well, it does sound here that one comes with a super decal sheet with stripes and decorative segments of special Tiger Meat 2014 livery.
Yeah.
It's all the tiger eyes and stripes and that.
So, the next one, right? Yes. Are you ready for the hashtag?
Yeah. Of hit me with it.
Hashtag 71167.
I love it when technology works in our favour. It's great, isn't it? The Vallejo model air set plus Ultra Airbrush plus 10 basic colours. Yeah,
now somebody was asking about this in the Boom Hut, so I thought it'd be worth a mention. And for that price, it is worth a mention because you're getting a starter set. Well, you call it a starter set of your basic colours for your own model air, plus a matte varnish and a thinner
Yep.
And you get in a H&S airbrush with it as well.
Harder and steam bed. Let's have a look at the list then, shall we?
Oh.
Yes, you get all these colours.
There's 10 basic colours.
Yep, 10 basic colours, which is a good, what, 40, 50 quid there, I think, is worth of colours, if not more. But you are getting a Harder and Steenbeck airbrush as well. And Harder and Steenbeck are like just some of the best airbrushes because they're hand rolled on the thighs of Cuban virgins when they make these airbrushes. They're all handmade. They're not really hand rolled on the thighs of Cuban virgins, but they're all handmade and hand tested.
Yeah, but they are. Each engineer in the factory is responsible for that particular airbrush and its whole assembly, so that when they come out of the factory, they've been, they haven't hand rolled on the thighs. Never mind.
Middle aged. Never mind. Moving on.
I'm really happy with my H&S airbrush. The drop-in nozzle is a dream for cleaning. It's sort of all the seals in it. Can you just scroll down a bit there, Foxx?
Yep.
I'm trying to do it myself at this end now.
Yeah, it's not your screen, Ted. Yeah, it's got the solvent-resistant Teflon packing.
So everything. Have you scrolled down? Oh yes, I can. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, brilliant airbrush. Fantastic if you're just getting into airbrushing and you want to go sort of the first level of the upper level as such. If you want to get on the first rung of the ladder, maybe all those. Get away from the eBay Chinese copies. Get yourself straight in there and get something like this, and you've got bags of paint there to practice with.
And when you think Harder and Steenbeck are some of the best brushes around, and they're typically like 130, 140 quid upwards, the fact you're getting one here plus all these paints for 80 quid, it's a hell of a way to start. A lot of times you'll get a starter airbrush, and just the airbrush on its own is 60 or 70 quid. So I'd have one of these.
Yeah, well, where you go then.
Pete, send me one of these. I don't know what I'd use it for, but just send it.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'll do an email Open University and how to use it.
Yeah. What we got next, Ted?
Right, we have hashtag. It's a bit of a surprise for everybody now, isn't it? Hashtag 9057.
9057. I can't actually see the chat, by the way. So tell me what the chat's saying, Ted, because I can't see anything.
Yeah, I think they're just all talking about what we're off.
Now this is like, oh hello.
You can pronounce the name.
Okay, this is people will have seen. I know Ant from Bash and Kits made one of these. This is the Zvezda USSR 1/2700 scale Imperial Star Destroyer. It's a special import. This is the one that until obviously now you could only get from a small number of stores who could get it from Russia, and it is huge. This thing is massive. Ant is in the chat. Ask him questions about it because he's got it and it's massive. It's just huge. And my understanding was it was like 300 or 400 quid. So, hello, I could see myself getting one of these. If you want a big Star Destroyer, it's probably the most accurate Star Destroyer model out there, apart from some very, very, very expensive resin jobs and garage kits and stuff. It's probably knocking on to be the most accurate and large. Well, not maybe I don't know if it's the largest, but it's probably the most accurate Star Destroyer kit that you're going to get. Zvezda have got a license for certain territories, and this is a special import. So ask Ant, who's in the chat. It is a very accurate kit. It's a joy to build. And
Ant says in the chat in large letters, it's massive.
Yeah, it is. It's just huge. We got any more pictures than that one? Or just that one picture? Oh, no, we've got some here. There we go. Let's have a look at the pictures. Keep forgetting we got these. The pictures don't tell you how big it is, but you can get the idea. And it is super detailed. I mean, like I said, Ant will tell you how good this kit is. So if you've got a hankering to build a Star Destroyer and you want a very, very, very accurate Star Destroyer and a very, very big Star Destroyer and a real massive thing that you can light up and do all kind of things with, then you need to snap this up. This being a special import, I suspect it's probably limited stock. So it may well be that we've got a few of these in. And whether we'll be able to get more, quite possibly. But I would say if you've been looking at getting one at this price, snap this thing up because who knows when we'll get more.
Well, Right.
And notice that Ted handed over to me on the sci-fi bit there.
Yeah, I've just gone blank now.
If I wasn't going to be spending the next 6 weeks building the, 6 months building the Eagle, I'd be building one of these for the guys at eModels. But never mind.
The next one we have hashtag 02828. And this one is something else that sort of I thought we could have a look at tonight, because I've just watched a few episodes of Band of Brothers.
I love Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers is just the best thing ever.
Yeah,
I watch it once every couple of years.
It's Hollywood, but it's good reference material, really. Sort of colours and things, how things go together.
Well, they did go to a lot of trouble to get everything as accurate as possible. Costumes and equipment and everything else. So,
but this is the trumpeter 148 Douglas C Dakota Skytrain, and it's depicted there in invasion colours with some invasion stripes on.
I defy anyone to tell me they don't like a Dakota. I'm sorry, but it's just everybody likes a Dakota. You can't not like a Dakota. And this is 148 scale, so it's nice and big as well.
Yeah, make a good impression in the display cabinet. So yeah, and also again, you don't have to paint it in military colours if you don't want to, because a lot went into civilian service after the war. You can make your own airlines.
Could have all kinds of fun with that. You could make an excellent ground-based diorama with 148 scale dudes and vehicles and fuel trucks. Or you could do a flying in the air, make lots of clouds and dudes falling out the back and everything. All kinds of things you could do with that.
Lots of stuff, yeah.
You can't go wrong with the Dakota. It is just the best plane in the world.
Yeah, I think it's like a Sherman tank or a Tiger tank. If you're building an aircraft, it's one of the aircraft you've got to build at some time in your career.
Yeah, it's the model. It's the aircraft modelers. You have to build this to be an aircraft modeler kind of kit.
Yeah. TK asks, does it have retracting landing gear? Most C-47 kits haven't.
Doesn't give us any information, unfortunately, on this one. I think it's fairly new in stock, so they haven't updated. We haven't updated the blurb yet. It shows it on the side there with the gear down, on the box art with the gear up. So one would assume you have various options there. It's a trumpeter kit, and as we know, trumpeters do very good kits. So trumpeter don't tend to skimp on things. So I would be fairly sure you've got lots of options in there.
And finally, because we're having a bit of difficulty with it tamiya, we've got a question from Jamie Bourne. Hi Ted, would you be able to show 148 kit Tamiya Strum Tiger, which is hashtag 32591.
91. It is going to be a Sturm Tiger. There we go.
Sturm Tiger. That's it.
Sturm Tiger. Sturm Tiger gefahren.
So there it is.
Oh, it's a stubby little fella.
Yeah, stubby little fella.
It's kind of adorable. It's almost like an egg tank in real life, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not too sure on the history of these or the involvement, but there it is. You've asked for it, so that's the 148 German.
It's a assault mortar.
It's a mortar, isn't it?
It's a short-range cannon rather than a long-range sort of 88 mil or similar. What have we got? Sturm Tiger was a seldom seen variant of the Tiger 1 using existing chassis and suspension to mount a mammoth 38 centimeter caliber mortar used against buildings and other fortifications. So it's a big ass gun. It's a big punching machine, basically. Yeah,
it was only estimated 18 were ever produced between August and December 44. So yes,
65 tons.
So that's a lot. Huh?
See, egg tanks do exist in real life. The Germans did have a sense of humour.
So that's that one.
Yes, right. Shall I unshare?
Yeah, you can unshare it.
Let me be closing that one. Stop screen sharing.
We're back. You're not out of focus.
I'm not out of focus, am I?
No, you're not out of focus.
Yay.
Cancel.
Right. Well, apologies for the little glitch there while I legged it out to go for it. Yes, I went for a wee. I couldn't help it. I do apologise. I'm absolutely bursting.
Yeah, so I think we've covered about everything now.
Chris Williams says about the Sturm Tiger, not the length, look at the width. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we'll move on. Shall we do a giveaway?
Oh, yes. I think we should. I think we should. Everybody likes giveaways.
Right. Let's give away a mug. Mug time.
Mug time.
Mug time. eModels mug. Mug time.
Do you have any questions, or are we winging it like we normally do?
I have a question for this one.
Oh my God, we've got something planned.
If you think of one for the T-shirt.
Oh God, do I have to? Okay.
Right. You can't answer it until I say go. And when I say go, it's the first one that appears on our screen.
Yep.
Right, a short time ago, first item up in the what's in store tonight was a tornado. They have been given a nickname. What's the nickname for a tornado?
Okay, you'll have to tell me when somebody gets the answer right, Ted, because I don't have a clue.
Go. Sorry, I didn't say go. Yeah. So what's the nickname for the tornado? No, it's not tornado, says Paul Stewart. Tonka says Northwest Modeler.
Is that right?
Yep, Northwest Modeler. Yeah, first one up.
Nice one, Alan.
It's a Tonka. Nice one, Alan. So
lovely. You've won yourself. What was it? A mug.
A mug.
We're doing a mug. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I shall put the email address in. I think we've already got it, but send an email with your address and everything. At eModels. UK. I've put it in there. There we go. I didn't know they were called Tonkas.
Tonkas, yeah. Yeah.
Paul Stewart says Spec Marine. Nate Bliss says cheese and onion.
Yeah, some of the guys sit in the fells and take pictures of them flying at hypersonic speeds as they go through the fells and
hypersonic. What's beyond hypersonic?
Yeah, so
ultrasonic.
Yeah, Tonka, they make tough toys.
Yes, that's good show, Alan. Send your details in, and we'll get that off to you, or Ted will get that off to you.
Yeah,
Ted has that job.
Yeah, I send it across to eModels, and they get it sent out from there.
No, I've got to think of a question for you. What are we doing next? It's a sticker.
T-shirt time. I haven't got any stickers.
I've got to think of a sticker, don't
I? You must remember that when I send the T-shirts out, it does take a little bit of time for me to get to the post office, but they do get there eventually.
Ted, I've got to think of a question now.
Is that a question coming through on the phone?
No, somebody sent me a text. I've got to think of a question. Okay.
I can't think.
I know I can't think of one now.
We'll think of one in a minute.
Okay, when we think of a question, we'll do this. We'll do the T-shirt giveaway.
Right.
Let's have a look. Chris Walters says, when was your last military build, Foxx? The last military I built was the...
Would it be the Striker? Could you count that as classic, as a military build?
Yeah, I did the Striker for eModels, but it was done as Drebin from Metal Gear Solid 5. There's always a sci-fi thing with me. So that was that one. That was, a couple of years ago? Before that, I did a Kubelwagen and an Opel Blitz, or as Tamiya like to call it, a 2.5 ton cargo truck.
I know. Now then, does the U-boat count as military?
Yes, I built the U-boat. I built two U-boats. I don't want to build a U-boat again. I built the Revell 1/72 scale 7-seat U-boat. Actually, it does come out really nice when you finished it. It's 3 foot long, and it's like, when I finished it, I did the first build and I finished it and thought, this is brilliant. And a couple of years later, I had to do one for a commission, so I built that. And then I looked at my original and the one I'd just done and thought, wow, my original was terrible because this one's much better. So what happens when who's paying you. So so I built that as well. And that was about 2.5, 3 years ago now. So I think the U-boat was after the Striker, so it'd be a U-boat, 7-seat U-boat, but not as big as Ted's U-boat.
Now, I am on with it. I've started the next part. I've got all the parts out and ready to get it down to the spray booth and get them first coated and start building them up. Right.
David Barker correctly says Space 1999 text alert. Yes, it is. I have a little Space 1999 sounds on my phone now for all the text alerts and stuff. Well spotted, David Barker. Ron Mack says, what is Ted's collar size?
15.5.
Is it? I think mine's 15.5. Smooth says, Space Marines, they are kind of military. Yeah, that's true. In that case, it was a Space Marine land speeder. Chris Smith says he got his T-shirt from last time.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I'm just going to go across to the eModels website and have a look. I might find a question in there.
Okay. Let's have a look at some of the chat while you're doing that. Yes, Chris Smith says thank you. Paul Stewart says, ickle skinny necks. I was born a pencil neck. I can't help it. Ant says he's 15.5. Is this something we need to know about the treehouse now that we're all 15.5? Smear is 17.5 to 18 collar. I'll see what I can find in the chat. Vincent says, damn it. Yes, it is, because it looks like a Tonka toy with the stubby wings. Must slap myself for not knowing this sooner about the tornado. Let's have a look. What else have we got going on? Ron Mack says, can we win a signed photo instead of a sticker? Which of us? I don't know which would be the worst one to have. You wouldn't want me.
We get like Radio 2 where people could sign photograph. No.
Yeah. Paul Stewart says, don't give away a ration pack now. They're destined for my entire face. Tomorrow is the day I'm going to do that. I'm going to get up in the morning, have my all-day breakfast, sausage and beans, and then work my way through the rest of the stuff throughout the day, and then go for my main course, my chocolate pudding. I'm just really gutted I didn't get any Screech. I really wanted to get some Screech because Tony told me all about Screech, and I really wanted to get some. So I didn't get any Screech.
Right, I've got one.
There we go. I'd see a doctor about that.
Yeah, I think I've found an ideal sort of thing. Right.
Oh, Mike Mountain had to go. Thanks for coming in, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks very much. Right, I'll just write this down so I know I've got the answer right.
Lynn Dipple says Screech.
Right. Right. Here's a question for a t-shirt.
T-shirt and gefahrten.
Right, and it'll test people's knowledge of whether they use the eModels website.
Okay.
Over on the eModels website page, over on the eModels website is.
Hey, Mike, you might want to hang on for just a minute if you want to win a T-shirt. Just give it 1 minute. Don't go anywhere yet.
There is a 125 years anniversary model of the Red Baron's aircraft. What is the number of the kit? What is the hashtag number of the kit on the eModels website of the Revell 128 scale 125 years anniversary of the Red Baron? Go.
You'll have to tell me when the answer pops up, Ted. I'll read them out as they come on. Snoopy 4001.
No.
05778.
05778. Who's that one?
That's Richard.
Richard, yes, 05778. Thank you very much, Richard. You're the winner. And cool. There it is. Yep, 05778. That's the 128 scale 105 year anniversary. Wrote a Red Baron, the Red Baron gift set. Set. Yeah. Or hashtag 05778.
Lovely. So, Richard, I'll pop an email over to that address I've just put in the chat.
Yep. Thank you.
And you will be sent your T-shirt of wearing.
Yeah, I realised that we didn't cover that kit in the what's in store or anything like that, so I don't really know anything about it. It's just I thought we'd have a get you all to go across to the eModels site and have a look how to search for. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Cool. So we've done that. Right, where is everybody?
Yes.
I'll find you all back now. So you can have a T-shirt from Mig of Ammo. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. Time is tracking on now.
Yeah, what time are we on? We are on coming up to 10:30.
10:30. Well, yeah.
Actually, I'm having flashbacks to being like 7 years old and making like biplanes. I haven't made a biplane since I was about 8 or 9 years old.
I know that some people do specialise in them, and they make cracking jobs using that easy line because they don't always come with the rigging and things like that.
No, I'm thinking at some point I should get myself a biplane kit of some sort. Maybe not a sock with camel because everybody made a sock with camel. Maybe a fairy swordfish or something like that.
Yeah, I think I have made one in my youth. It was a very old. It was a bomber, so it was quite a large thing. I must apologise for not knowing my aircraft, but it was certainly a biplane. It was a bomber, and it was big.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, when you're a kid and you make a model and then play with it, because I was like 8 years old. For some reason, biplanes were way cooler than normal fighter planes, apart from the Spitfire, which is the best plane ever. Biplanes, for some reason, were well cooler when I was a little kid. So maybe I should get myself a biplane at some point. It'd be interesting.
That and a DC, a Dakota.
Ron Mack says Wingnut Wings make some very good biplane kits. Yes, and they're in stock as well. eModels.
Oh, right.
They carry Wingnut Wings.
Right.
Mr. Vincent says Vickers Vimy Ted.
That's it. Yes, yeah. That's it.
I kind of had that in the back of my head, and I was like, I'm sure it's a Vickers of some sort. Lego do a great sock with camel. Yeah, I think because I think everybody's built a sock with camel at some point. I did quite like the fairy swordfish. I have memories of that. I'd have to have a look. Chris Walter says he's out. Thanks for stopping by, Chris. Tony Black says he's got a load in his stash. Made them.
Right. Sorry, I'm just getting an email. I'll just pick it up this email.
Tony Black says wingnut wings are incredible, made by Weta of New Zealand. Oh, I didn't know that. Is that right? They're made by Weta.
Right. Right. We have a giveaway.
Oh, hello. I wondered if something was afoot.
Yes.
We had word from on high.
Yes.
She who must be obeyed.
We have a giveaway. Could you go and get us up number hashtag 501?
Hang on. Let me do my split screen. Hang on. Give me one moment. I need to lock it to me, don't I? Hang on. Right. Let me lock it on me. Split screen. Share. Let's open some Chrome. eModels. Let's have a look.
I've just forgot the number. I've just closed it.
Oh, Ted. What was the number?
I'll tell you now. The number is...
The number you require?
The number you require is 50172.
This is why it's worth staying to the end of the programme. 50172.
That's it. It's the Airfix 148th Battle of Britain gift set.
Ooh. I like that.
Lots of stuff in it. Something like we're really talking about for that Dakota, wasn't it? You could do a ground scene.
In fact, yeah, if you got yourself that Dakota and you got all this, do you get a Spitfire with it as well?
Yeah.
You got yourself a Dakota and all these vehicles together that you've got basically an airstrip diorama there. Let's see what you get. So, scale 148. Let's have a look. What did it get in there? Refueling was due to the common Albion AM463 refueling truck. Gun crews. Trucks such as the Bedford MWD were used to transport men and equipment. Cool. Kit contains. There we go. It's actually at the bottom. One Hawker Hurricane. This is 148 scale, remember. This isn't 172nd. You get a Hawker Hurricane Mark 1, an Albion AM463 3-point fueler, a Bedford MWD, 10 ground crew dudes and accessories, 12 paints, 2 brushes, and 2 poly cement. Wow, that's a really nice little setup.
Yeah, nice little setup. That, yeah, nice little diorama for somebody to make.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant little setup.
Yeah. For our kit giveaways, we will do a comment on the YouTube.
Okay.
It'll work quite successfully. We'll do a YouTube comment. So the comment for this week's prize would be ready for battle.
Ready for battle.
Ready for battle.
I shall come back and type that into the chat. So you just want to say ready for battle.
Yeah. Now you won't be able to do it yet because you won't be able to do it till a few minutes after the live stream ends. But if you comment ready for battle, and we will pick the winner next week.
Yep. I've put 3 T's in battle. That's not right. There we go. I've put an exclamation mark on the end, but you don't need to worry about putting the exclamation mark on the end. Just ready for battle. What we'll do is, as like Ted says, wait a few minutes till it's about 5 or 10 minutes after the stream finishes before it's then up on YouTube as a video you can watch. And all we need to do is go on there when it's up, put that comment on there, and then we'll draw the winner. Like we did last time, we'll draw a winner and that person will win that kit. So you've got all week to put your comment on. If you're watching this after the fact, so you're not watching it live, you can still take part, so just stick your comment below.
Yeah, that way it gives everybody that watches the video, if they haven't got time to get into the chat and you already watch it on catch up, they can take part as well. So ready for battle is it. Right, I think we've covered about everything tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's been a good night. Lots of questions coming in. We do like the questions coming in, and it's a lot easier to get your questions if you email them to me, because chat just runs away. And we do apologise once again if we've missed your question. But email them to ted@emodels.co.uk, and we'll get them ready for you and answer them next week. Right, I think I've done enough chatting. I'm ready to go.
You died for a wee, Ted, is that what it
I'll
is?
die for a wee myself. No, I think I've
That started the chain reaction.
Yes, it's a power of suggestion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all for this week, folks, and maybe more for next week. Come back and join us again.
Yeah. Do make sure to put your comment on the video afterwards if you want to be.
Don't forget
that little. It's a nice little kit. I do like that.
Yeah.
Go and get yourself a Dakota, and then if you win that kit as well, you can make a massive diorama like this big.
Yeah. Band of Brothers diorama. Yeah.
Yeah, because 148 Dakota is what? Good wingspan. It's not that big, I would have thought.
It's going to be big.
Quite a sizable. And Trumpy to make good.
Be nice, that. Yeah.
I want that now. I want Dakota. I would be tempted to make. See, I always say I don't do planes because I don't do shiny stuff. I'm tempted to do maybe World War II planes because they're not shiny. I could get away with that. And
the Dakotas don't have, well, they have windscreens, but they don't really have canopies.
Yeah. It's either going to be a Dakota or a JU-52. Or was it JU-88? JU-52, the one that had the floats. The red one. I like that one. Maybe in the future I will do an airplane build.
You've said it now. We'll hold you to that.
It's all going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that in my pocketbook.
1/24th scale Dakota. There you go.
Yeah.
Sort one out.
We shall tap into the knowledge of our friend TK, who him and Ant have been moderating for us tonight. I would like to thank them for their help.
Yes, TK and Ant, thank you so much for helping out. As always, it is much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who came in the chat. Everyone's been really well behaved tonight, and it's always really cool when everybody's nice and friendly. They've actually all been having a good chat about the army days and stuff like that. So it's been really nice to see everybody just hanging out and getting on and kind of ignoring us, really, which is
that's what it's all about. As I've said before to other people, it's just like sort of a group of guys hanging out in a pub.
Yeah, we're just background noise while you have a good old chat in the chat. So that's how it works.
Okay, so we're going to call it a night. Fox, you can press the button.
I've got to do that, haven't I? I've got to press the magic button. Well,
you get the honor of pressing the button tonight. We didn't break anything. Well, not really, but yeah.
There could be a coincidence that I host it and it doesn't break, and you hosted it last week and it broke.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
As Porsche said, if you're going to do it, you've got to go and slap it on. You got to get one in.
Yeah, I shall now press the button. Now he's done that.
Press the button. Slap it on.